Welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today we're going to talk a little bit about baseball. Might throw in some football, a little bit of basketball towards the end if we have time. But today I kind of want to set a little bit of a to-do list for baseball over the off season. Obviously, you're probably asking, hey, they just made it to Omaha. There's no way that they probably need to improve on much. But I mean, Coach John Savage would beg to differ. And I'm going to pull a little bit of quotes from his post-game press conference after their loss to Arkansas last week. And we're just going to see where they can improve and where they're actually really good going off starting next season. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The big question, I guess it's not even a question really, but the first thing on the list that I think any UCLA fan would agree with is you've got to extend John Savage. His contract is up on June 30th, I believe. He signed an extension back in 2013 when he won the national championship. That's when he signed his extension, and that contract extension expires on June 30th. Now, you're probably thinking that's really good timing for a contract to expire as soon as you make it to Omaha for the first time since 2013. I'd beg to differ. I kind of think that the Bruins under Savage over the last decade or so have been relatively competitive, minus 1 year, which was the 19-win year when their team was extremely young. And you saw that even like after a year with the same group, he was able to make a 29-win leap and win 48 games this season and make it to Omaha. So first to-do list for baseball is you absolutely positively have to pay John Savage. You have to extend him. I don't see any real negative reasons why you wouldn't extend him. He should be UCLA's head guy for the foreseeable future, even though he's been there for 2+ decades already. So that's the first to-do list. Second one has to do with the individual players and your off-season improvement and whatnot. John Savage touched a lot on it. After their loss to Arkansas last week, he's saying the real thing that stood out is that they have to be more physically imposing as a team and get stronger. In baseball terms, I mean, that at the plate, they just have to be stronger, have to be able to, get an extra base hit when they need it, turn those kind of bloop singles that only net you one base and may not bring a runner in, turn those into extra base hits, turn those into home runs that might bring runners in the future. Their batting order, especially in the postseason, was really good at, hitting balls out, really good at bringing runners in. But then down the stretch of the postseason and into Omaha, you really saw that lack of slugging and, just getting extra base hits, especially when you needed them. So that's one thing that he really stressed, is kind of getting stronger and getting more physically imposing as a baseball team. Because even sometimes, like when a pitcher knows that a team like the Bruins isn't going to, hit for power as often, sometimes you're okay with giving up hits knowing that they're most likely either just going to be singles or just going to hit straight into the infield for an easy put out. So yeah, the physicality and getting stronger should definitely be on the top of that list. Next one I think should be starting pitching, and kind of following the trend of what John Savage was saying needs to be improved. Yeah, starting pitching needs to be improved a little bit. Their arms were decent through the postseason, kind of towards the end when they played a little bit more experienced bats, is when the starting pitching kind of started to slump a little bit. But yeah, John Savage, I'll read a quote right here about what he said about starting pitching. He was basically just talking about how, you do have good arms in the rotation right now, but they have the potential to be better. He said, I think our starting pitching has to get better. Clearly, we've had really good starting pitching, but we have to make sure we have a couple of frontline ones and twos that'll carry the freight over the weekend. Several guys have a chance to be those guys. He said So there's a lot of things that you'll still got to look at and say, you know what, we've got to be better in these areas. And I love that. That's part of my job. And certainly we're going to be looking at a lot of different things. So, and he was answering those questions. I mean, I could be reading it wrong, but he was asking those questions answering those questions kind of with the thought that he's going to be back next year and be back for the foreseeable future. So that was a good sign. But yeah, starting pitching definitely needs a little bit of a lift. Maybe one of those guys, one of those rotation arms can turn into, one of those guys that's going to be shut down all throughout the season and into the postseason. Their bullpen was really good the entire season and in the postseason. Most of them are young, just like this entire team is. They're all pretty young, so a lot is going to be improved upon over the offseason. Savage was also talking about how, he's just going to evaluate the portal, evaluate, the incoming high school class, evaluate all of that, so he could improve upon what he, was kind of mentioning needed to be improved upon. So, yeah, that is a little bit of a to-do list that UCLA baseball needs to do. I mean, and another part of the list that really doesn't need to be added that really needs to go unsaid is, like, this team, at least I think, is bound for a better run than they went on this year. You're asking me, they started 6-0 in the postseason, made it to Omaha. They won a game in Omaha and then lost to two really good teams and the eventual champs, LSU. Forgot to mention LSU won the national championship, and they came out of UCLA's bracket. This team next year, this year they reached highs in the postseason and they got some scars from the postseason they played against more experienced teams. I mean, they looked dominant all the way until their second game in Omaha. I mean, granted, they didn't play a single ranked opponent, but they played really good teams. They kind of dominated them for stretches there. And as soon as they played Arkansas, as soon as they played LSU, just teams that are maybe a little bit better than the Bruins, but they're definitely more experienced. As soon as they played those teams, that's when they really struggled. So, like, the Bruins are going to be more experienced than they were this year, which I think automatically makes them a better team. Bunch of sophomores and freshmen on the team that are going to be returning next season. I mean, Savage was saying all throughout the postseason that, he feels like he's really built a good group of guys that are willing to stick together and potentially not enter the portal. And I believe him too. I think he really built a nice, strong, close-knit group. You saw that in the finals game. Everyone was joking around, happy for themselves. You've got Rock Chalowski, you've got Mulavai Levu, just two of college baseball's best hitters. Chalowski, arguably college baseball's best player, coming back next season. You got the 19-win season out of the way. Then you got the first postseason appearance out of the way. And now next season, you're primed for a national championship run. So I think you saw it in the NBA. And as I'm recording this, the finals just ended. OKC, a very young team, won the finals. But, they were young, yes, but they had to get their scars out of the way early, and it led them to, an eventual NBA championship. So maybe the Bruins can kind of mirror that, in that they went from 19 wins in one season, a really bad season, to quite frankly overperforming and making it to Omaha, winning 6 games, losing their last 2 games. Next season, basically the entire team is going to be returning, hopefully, and they're going to look much better, and they should be in contention for a national championship. So that's going to wrap up for this UCLA baseball to-do list podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Connor Moreno, your host, and we'll see you tomorrow.